Well, I'd done some music video type things before. Like my friend Lady Gaga and I worked together on "Rain on Me" with Ariana Grande, and I worked with Interscope with my friend there, Michelle, and she called me this year and said that went so well. That video did so well, and I've got a project now with Billie Eilish, which would be a concert. It's a whole project, and I call you about it. She told me what it was. That she wants to use animation. She might be in the animation, the motion capture, which you've done with Alita and other projects of yours. It'd be great if she had somebody there, a director who could help her, realize this vision. She wants to bring two worlds together in some way. So loved Billie Eilish music. My daughter introduced me to her music years ago. My daughter and I would jam. There's her songs and just together at home, and every time my daughter would bring me a new song that she wanted to play, I'd be like, and who's this? Another Billie Eilish song? Wow, these are great songs. We're a big fan. So I went to my daughter, who's an artist, who's 15 now. Mm-hmm. I always said, look at what amazing things Billie's doing at such a young age. She was such a great role model for my daughter.
Yeah.
I said, come work on it with me. So we'll get to hear the album before anybody. You'll get to design animation early on about what it could look like. And so we worked on it. We heard the album. It was fantastic. And she was going to she does a whole concert. It's just the album sequentially done. It's not many artists who could just do one album and have that be a show, but her album is so great. And then I motion capture directed Billie with a suit on to capture her performance so that the animation would look and act exactly like her. And formulated these ideas of my daughter, and I came up with places that her character could go and things that she would do to interweave with the final film. And then we were there for the filming of the show at the Hollywood Bowl, which was perfect because it's such a gorgeous building. When we're able to put back in a reflecting pool, which they haven't had there since the beginning, that reflects the bowl back into itself. And so it's very incredible looking at night, and then because we didn't have any audience because of COVID, it allowed us to move the cameras places between songs that we never could do during a live show. So it looks much more cinematic and specialized per song than any other concert film. So it's a very unique project.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like with this project, you guys went to a place that you have never gone before. Speaking of the artist, because of the way she filmed this and the way you filmed this without an audience, like you were mentioning, it also sounds like you have a budding artist there with your daughter. Yeah. That's amazing. Does she want to be a director?
She loves art. She did a bunch of art for me in my last film as well. Mm-hmm. She's
how old is she now?
She's 15 now. 15. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But she draws incredible. You wouldn't know that looking at her artwork. Today's technology on an iPad, she got so good so fast. I always tell people, give your kids technology because they'll soar.
There's downside to technology, but there's also very good positive.
Oh, there's a lot of really great stuff.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you if you've been to concerts by Billie Eilish before, and if you guys had a chance to talk about each other's work before collaborating.
I hadn't been to a live concert of hers, but I was super familiar with her visuals and her music. And we talked about, mainly just common references that we really liked, that we wanted to get a feel of. And
can you mention which are those common references?
Well, like Roger Rabbit or Cool World, where there was an animated character in a live action world, and how can we do something like that? Because she always liked that sort of mixing of mediums and how to realize it. And so that was some of our conversations. And then just character-wise, like why animation? Like I asked her, why are we doing animation? And she said, mainly because it's cool and it's like a character idealized version of myself, I guess. I wish I could be as cool as this animated version.
Does it have a name, the character? Does it have a name?
Have a name, but it's definitely got its own personality, and it's but it's an animated, idealized version of her. So I thought, well, we always have in our heads this person we wish we could be that we'll never achieve because they're so much better than us, right? We always wish we could be so much better. We could look different, we could act different, we could talk different. Well, you give that character so much real estate, it becomes real, and that's the animated version. The animated version would love to meet her because it would want to be her just as much because she's real, and the
Right.
animated version is not. So that's why they're on a collision course. That became the idea in the story, that that's why she's in search for the real version of her just as much as the real version is in search for the idealized version.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of the idea behind it. And that informed everything we did from that point once we had that conversation. We had that conversation just before we started motion capturing. So it was perfect because then everybody had a direction, and the reflections, the language of the reflections reflects that. It's a reflection of yourself. It's your idealized self. So it helped inform all the art direction and the staging and everything from that point on.
How long did the whole process take?
Oh my gosh, I think they called me about it in May or something. We didn't even start motion capturing until the end of June. So this was very fast. Music, that's what I love about doing stuff for the music world. They move so much faster than the movie world, which is always too slow for me. I like the pace of the music world. They kind of move at the speed of thought. You know, that's how a musician thinks. So I love that energy. I love that world. And everyone has to be, even the animators are like, that's not enough time to animate. It's like, well, we have to get it done. All right, we have to really streamline what we're doing and really focus in on it. Usually they're used to spending years animating.
Yeah. It sounds like this was a very fast clip production. I wonder, do you have a favorite Billie Eilish song?
I mean, from this album, there's several, but I'm now used to the live version. I like hearing Gustavo Dudamel does with the live orchestra there, the LA Philharmonic. It is incredible. So Therefore I Am is even better live with all the instruments. They do it in a really great way. Oxytocin has a great stage lighting and camera going on. That version of it I really love. And then Billie's Bossa Nova, my daughter and I love that song, but the live version with the orchestra really enhances it. There's a lot of times the orchestra doesn't always enhance the song. These were really well done. We had a great orchestrator who figured out how to use the orchestra really well.
What a privilege to have all these collaborators like Gustavo Dudamel, who is someone who actually is going to embark in another direction of his career. I think he's going to Europe, but and then the Hollywood Bowl, that is fantastic. This place in Los Angeles, a lot of people probably don't know it in person, but it's incredible. It has magic. And I want to finalize the interview because I know this is a love letter to Los Angeles. I know you're not from Los Angeles,
right?
But you spend a lot of time of your career professionally.
My whole life, you spend time here without knowing it till you get here, and you realize every movie and TV show you grew up with was done there, so you can recognize every place.
Right.
Like
so there's a little
backyard.
bit of you, right?
Yeah,
that is a little Angelino. And recently we interviewed Danny Trejo, a great collaborator of yours. And I wonder, I guess friend, right? I know you wrote a little bit of praise of his new biography, and that biography talks about LA, that LA where he grew up in. And I wonder, because we're talking about a love letter to LA from Billie Eilish, and we're talking about Danny Trejo right this moment. If you were to write a book or film your story, your love letter to LA, what would those places be? Those places that have left a lasting impression of yours, something history, you know what I mean? Those places connect a lot.
They're probably mostly restaurants because I've always eaten at the same places over and over.
Can you mention any of those? Because I know a lot of fans are gonna be like, oh my God, Robert Rodriguez is LA. What is that like?
Yeah, what is my version of LA? You know, I've been there. I have mine are all very strange. Like, you know, I stay at the same hotel whenever I go there. I shouldn't even say which one it is because I ordered a drink once and I was the 1 millionth bar check. So I got 1 million free drinks at that hotel. So that would be part of my definitely, even though I don't drink really alcohol, I got a lifetime free drinks there. So I always stay there because I know in the back of my head, because I'm from a family of 10 kids, that I get free drinks at this hotel. So I go back to that hotel. You know, there's I have the first studio that I worked on there, you know, just
Which one is it? Which studio is it?
Sony, which was the old MGM lot, which is the old classic lot, you know, and they kept it up as that. So it still has the feel of what it was like when it was MGM. Even after Sony bought it, they invested a lot of money to refurbish it and bring it back to what it looked like, it felt like, and where my office was. You know, just over the past 20 years, there's lots of places, and where to go eat, where Quentin and I would go eat lunch while he was writing Pulp Fiction, and I was, which
Can
was
you mention
Versailles.
one of them?
Versailles, Cuban food, Versailles that they had right there. We'd cross the street to Versailles, go back, and I would be writing Desperado, and he would be writing Pulp Fiction. At offices next to each other on the Sony lot.
What did you order there at Versailles? Actually, there's a Versailles in Florida that is very famous.
I always get the ropa vieja. I would get that. I'd get the soup. Yeah, the ropa vieja I'd get a lot. There's I'm sure there's other places like that, but a lot of food places that kind of gone away over the years. But
yeah, LA is an ever and always changing place. And, you know, from one year to another, we're talking about a very different city, especially now after the pandemic. But you're leaving us with a lot of information. I know a lot of fans are going to go to LA looking for those Robert Rodriguez places. I really appreciate talking to you today. And I congratulate you for the new project, which is amazing. And please send an invitation to our audience at People en Español to see the new special.
Please come see. Please come see. No, please come see because it's on Disney Plus. Watch Disney Plus for Billie Eilish Experience for Happier Than Ever.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to meet you. Such an honor. Thank you.
Yeah.